Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Shalom, family. Good to see everyone here. Hope you're doing well. Well, let me tell you why Donald Trump desperately wanted this ceasefire. He wanted it, y'all, because the U.S. ran out of ammunition. That's why he wants this indefinite ceasefire. And he has been in the news trying to make it seem like the Iranians were begging him for the ceasefire. The Iranians have no reason to beg for a ceasefire. They got, like they said, a stockpile. They can go 10 years with this war. America can't. So rather than tell the truth to the public, he tries to come out and make it look like the Iranians are just begging at his feet, and no such thing is happening. The Iranians are in a very good position. They're not running out of ammunition. The Americans are out. That's why he needed this ceasefire and was whining for it for as long as the war has gone on. So, y'all, I don't want to hear anything about high IQs and how these people are the master race, which is no such thing. You know, the Most High did not make a Gentile a master race. That in itself is a joke. And they know how to do things and run businesses better than us. All lies. All lies. The military is badly mismanaged. Number one, Donald Trump made them turn the satellites off so that nobody could see how badly damaged the military bases were. That's why you haven't seen anything in the media of the military bases, because he won't let anybody see the damage. Number two, I did the story last week. The military is starving. They're barely getting a meal. And now you're out of munition. See, who's been running the military? Sure hasn't been us. But ladies and gentlemen, never let these people try to tell you they're smarter than us, they're better than us, they do everything better than us. It's all lies. One thing about Donald Trump, he is the embodiment of who and what they are. Donald Trump is a failure. The people running this system are failures, and it's going to continue to fail. Instead of surrounding himself with experts, Donald Trump surrounded himself with yes men that don't know how to do anything. And he's paying the price for this decision. How much ass kissing can somebody do? But yes, now you know Donald Trump had to get this ceasefire because America don't have nothing to fight with anymore. And see, you already pissed off your enemies. They're not going to help you. They ain't giving you none of their ammunition. And you notice not one nation is sending ammunition to America. Not one nation. Badly mismanaged. America is badly mismanaged. The military is badly mismanaged. These people can't run nothing. I've been telling y'all this since I've been on YouTube. I worked with them and I saw their failures in real time. And let me tell you something, they can't run nothing. The only thing they can run is their mouth and deceive you and mislead you. Anything that requires thinking and brains and stuff, they can't do it. That's all they have done. 400 years. 400 years to get it right and still can't get it right. And that means you're never going to get it right. Somebody can give you another 400 years and you'll F it all up in the next 400 years. See, you pay attention. I told you these folks don't know how to run anything. And now the whole world sees it. Everybody is watching America closely and they're shocked. And I've been reading articles that people thought America had it together. And now they see America don't have anything together. America's one big mess, just like Donald Trump. They see it now. Nobody is holding America in the highest regard anymore because, see, the smoke screen, what did the Mossad said? He was going to strip these people naked so they can't hide nothing else about themselves. So now, ladies and gentlemen, the whole world is seeing America for what she really truly is. America, if you had to describe America on the world stage, America is one big, dumb, goofy racist. That's what America is. One big, dumb, goofy racist. That's how I would describe America. Dumb, because you don't know how to do anything. You just claim you do, but you don't. Goofy. Well, y'all have always been goofy. And racist. Trust me, you can bust down on these people a hell of a lot better than they can bust down on you. And that's the truth. But now you know the real reason. He needs this ceasefire. That's why he said the ceasefire is indefinite. And the Iranians are like, we don't know anything about that. And they're telling you the truth. They never made such an agreement with Donald Trump. Donald Trump is in desperate mode. He needs to stop this war because if the war starts back up, America don't have nothing to fight with. And the world will finally see America has no ammunition. It has nothing. So, I mean, look, at the end of the day, y'all are running the show. And not to mention, y'all, just 2 weeks ago, they announced America's insolvent. We didn't do this shit to America. We didn't do none of this. We're not in control. We don't run things. So the people that are running and claiming you do it all, yes, now you claim the insolvent state that America's in, claim that too. Okay, you claim you do everything, claim that too. Yeah, it is shameful. America's broke and America has stupid leadership. This has got to be the dumbest administration in the history of this country. And there's been some other dumb ones too, but this one is top-notch dumb. This is stupid. But you know what? They elected people that remind them of themselves. That's why Donald Trump is there, because the majority of the people that voted for him, Donald Trump reminds them of themselves. Right? Oh, I can relate to Donald Trump. He's like me. That's why they voted for him. You know? And now the whole world sees that America is not smart, not innovators, not leaders. They're dumb. And they elected a 34 convicted felon. You had to be dumb to elect something like that, but now the whole world sees you as dumb. Now, America, get used to not being invited anywhere, get used to being snubbed by other countries. When you try to flex on a country, watch how fast they slap your ass down. That's what's going to happen. People ain't afraid of America no more. You can thank Donald Trump for that. Nobody's afraid of Donald Trump's threats. Now, when he gets up there, we annihilated them. We obliterated them. We obliterated them. Nobody is afraid of Donald Trump. Nobody. Nobody is afraid of Donald Trump. Nobody's afraid of his threats. And see, if Iran start dropping bombs, he got our military sitting out there. They are sitting ducks, y'all. They are sitting ducks. So right now, Iran can attack America, and America don't have shit to fight back with. How embarrassing. How embarrassing, y'all. How embarrassing. All I got to say is, Iran, please leave us out of it. We don't run the show. If we did, this country would be in top-notch shape, but we don't run it. The dummies run it. The Gentiles, the ones that came over here dirty with rats and lice from Europe, they run the show here. They run the show here. And you see what kind of show they run. It's embarrassing for a group of people to be this fucking dumb, but they are. So don't, we ain't responsible for what they do. Don't lump us in with them. Whatever you do, don't lump us in with them. All right, y'all. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right. Okay. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. But you know what? The Most High made this be revealed to the world because Donald Trump was talking all tough. Oh, if they don't come to the negotiating table, we're going to take out their bridges of power. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Talking all kinds of crap out there. No wonder why the Iranians are snubbing them, because I believe Iran knows they don't have shit. And the whole time America don't have nothing to fight with. And he's sitting around talking like that. Unbelievable. Thank you, y'all, for the ones. How embarrassing.
CNN has learned that the U.S. military has significantly depleted its stockpile of key missiles during the war with Iran. And according to experts, this reduction is so severe it has created a near-term risk of the U.S. running out of ammunition should a future conflict arise in the next few years.
A new report says the U.S. military will be at risk of running out of ammunition if a new conflict comes up in the next few years. The report was released by American media outlet CNN that referred to experts and several people familiar with internal Defense Department stockpile assessments. It said the U.S.'s military has significantly depleted its stockpile of key missiles in the war against Iran. Analysts say the U.S. military has expended at least 45% of its stockpile of precision strike missiles and at least half of its inventory of THAAD missiles over the last 7 weeks of war. Experts say replenishing these weapons could take years as production struggles to keep pace with demand.
I need for someone to tell me how this works. Billions upon billions of dollars being spent on a defense budget. For this to happen, I cram to understand.
in the whole history of the Revolutionary Republic, 47 years, they've only made a fundamental compromise and come to a fundamental conclusion on something twice, ending the 8 years of the war with Iraq, and then the nuclear agreement with the Obama administration, which took us 2.5 years to get to. And so I think what we've seen is, President Trump has taken an off-ramp. Maybe he was tired of all that winning. The question is this off-ramp to a rest stop, which seems the most likely thing? Is it to some kind of destination, or is it some kind of dead end? And the challenge he has is he's really put himself into a corner over the last few weeks that's going to be very hard to get out of.
And you don't think he can
The sense of this has been that the president has had two guardrails on what he's done. Markets and munitions. Very sensitive to markets, understandably. Price of oil, gasoline, natural gas, fertilizer, the bond market, the stock market, et cetera. That's one guardrail. The other guardrail has been munitions, our supply of both offensive and defensive munitions. And
the fact that the United States is running out of ammunition or defense system, the THAAD system, you name it, is shocking for everyone in the world. It's shocking to Japan and ROK because they thought that the United States
No, what they know how to do is put on a good dog and pony show. What America can do is they talk big, but at the end of the day can't back up shit. And they had the entire world buy into America is great. America's a superpower. America's got the most powerful military on earth. No, you don't. Iran is showing you America does not have the most powerful military on earth. No, they don't. And America, you can't defeat America. They're just such a giant. Now everybody is seeing it for what it is. This dude, they just knew how to get on the world stage and talk crap. But now with this Iran war, they can't back up nothing that they say. They can't back up shit that they say now. And it's all out there. And the world is shocked because they really believe, you know what it is? It came out of a white mouth. So they were inclined to believe it. That's what at the end of the day, that's what it is. They thought anything that comes out of a white mouth is a fact. And now they're seeing it was all smoke and mirrors. But see, we already knew that. The rest of the world did not know, but they now know. They now know. And they really, everybody bought into America's greatness, America's greatness. Yeah, it don't seem so great anymore, does it?
is invisible. They are unpenetrable, and they have all the foolproof systems in the world, and they depend on the United States to save their own neck. The reality is just the opposite. The United States has fully exposed its fallibility and the vulnerability and what will be the future if war breaks out between the United States and any other country in the world. Therefore, I think it is time to call on Washington to restore their own sanity.
We have to go inside now.
صاروخ وقع في بيت عوض ما في إصابات لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله.
الإصابات يا عمي، في إصابات بيجوا هذا الصاروخ وقع الصاروخ في موقع صالون للنسوان.
So apparently my theory earlier that the Americans are running out of weapons or have run out of weapons in Iran or in the Middle East rather, actually might have more legs to it than I thought. Reports have come out that apparently they have expended so many missiles, so many bombs, that actually they are either run out in that region and having to take from other parts of the world. Something that I was kind of vaguely aware of, which is why I came to the conclusion they were running out. Which is why, like, Taiwan isn't getting the weapons that it needs. Ukraine isn't getting the weapons that it needs. Europe isn't getting the weapons that it needs. America has been taking from those supply shipments to effectively power its attack in the Middle East. But it's also running down on stockpiles at home. The rumor, well, the story is that they've used so many Tomahawks and so many cruise missiles, I think they're the same thing actually, that it's going to take 6 years to replenish their stock. 6 years. So this idea that actually maybe he's running down his military stockpile because he actually wants Russia to be invaded isn't actually the flight of fantasy that I thought it might have been. I don't know. I don't really genuinely think that's what he's up to here. But it does stand for something, that if America can run out of weapons, or it can run its stockpiles so low in 54 days, if let's double that, let's say the war actually was an active war for, say, 6 months, how quickly would it run out of weaponry and munitions? How low is it? I mean, this is actually quite a bombshell thing. Like, this is shocking in the sense that
the reason why America is running out of ammunition is because before the war, Pete Hegseth misjudged the amount of munition that was there. He told Trump there was plenty and there wasn't. But see, this is what happens when you put incompetent people in charge of your military. Yeah, a military that's out in the Middle East starving because you didn't think of sending food to the damn military personnel that's there. Now, if you can't even think of giving people food, what makes you think they're going to make sure there's enough missiles to fight with? I mean, the biggest idiots ever, y'all. For real, the biggest idiots ever. Let's go on.
that America is running out of these weapons and having to take from elsewhere, and actually it can't prosecute the war in the way that it wants to prosecute the war. But it's also shocking to think that we all have seen America as this dominant military force for a long time, that basically if you had America on your side, you were gonna win. But it sounds to me like they don't have the munitions that we all thought they had, that actually America couldn't sustain a war of this magnitude for more than about 6 to 9 months. They, like, Iraq was different. Iraq and Afghanistan were different. They had moved into a war gearing and they were replenishing the weapons, and they weren't firing at this kind of rate. America has spent not 54 days, because he's kind of been on a ceasefire, but about 30 to 40 days, they were kind of unrelenting attacks. They were using all of their interceptor missiles to take out Shahed drones. That's $1 million missiles to take down $20,000 wooden drones that the Iranians can manufacture at a rate that most countries can't manufacture munitions, because they're really cheap and easy to make. That's why Ukraine said to America, we've got a solution for Shahed drones. It doesn't cost you $1 million a go. It costs you about $30,000. And America went, no, fuck you, Iran. Fuck you, Ukraine. We don't want that anymore. And now they are wasting their weapons. So, yeah, it sounds like America's had to pause because it couldn't continue the fight it wants to continue. It might not even be able to carry out the threats that.
Y'all, that's exactly what's coming out, that the war, Donald Trump needed this ceasefire, and he's trying to make the ceasefire last because they said if there's another round of fighting, America has nothing to fight with. Why do you think he told me, an indefinite ceasefire? That's why. They have nothing. The next round, Iran, Iran already kicked their ass. They gonna really take them out if they go a second round of fighting. It won't be nothing left standing as far as the US is concerned. Yeah, America was good. You're right. America, speaking of propaganda, was good at playing the propaganda game to the entire world, flexing their muscles and acting like they were the toughest thing on the earth. And now you're finding out they ain't shit. America ain't shit. Just lying to everybody. Not war ready, definitely not food ready. War breakout, I guess your military will be dropping like flies because they won't have not a meal to eat. Unbelievable. And now they used, ladies, from what I read in this war, they have used 850 missiles, Tomahawks. 850. Yeah, I would say it's already collapsed as far as the military is concerned. Yeah, it's already collapsed. It really has.
That Trump is threatening this idea of destroying all of their power stations and bridges and schools and hospitals and everything else that would make it a war crime. They might not actually have the munitions to be able to do that, which makes me wonder, is that even an even worse bluff that he's actually, and the fact that this is coming out, the Iranians have already were just like, we don't care. You said you're going to do all these things and you haven't done any of these things, so we just not listening to you. If they've found this out, and chances are they've probably got spies who knew this anyway and have been briefing them, they have the absolute upper hand now. They have somebody that's making threats they know he can't carry on with, and they don't. Well, yeah, they could still, America could still prosecute the war, but they would run out of weapons very quickly if they carried on with this. At which point, America would be very exposed, and so would its allies in the Gulf. It's quite a shocking thing. I have to say, I'm actually, like, the more I think about it, the more shocking this actually is, because it also would explain why he wanted to nuke Iran, because that would have almost certainly brought an end to everything. Yeah, I wanted to just repeat this because I thought it was quite a massive. Yeah, it's a massive thing to realize that one of the world's biggest superpowers, is nowhere near as armed as it claims to be.
The United States is now at risk of running out of missiles if another war breaks out because they've depleted so much of their stockpile. This is making a big, big problem in the event that there's a big conflict in the coming years. According to CNN, the U.S. military has significantly depleted its stockpile of key missiles during this war with Iran and created a, quote, near-term risk of running out of ammunition in a future conflict should one arise in the next few years, according to experts and 3 people who are familiar with their stockpile. This comes after the last 7 weeks of war where the U.S. expended at least 45% of its stockpile of precision strike missiles, at least half of its THAAD missiles, which intercept ballistics, and 50% of its Patriots, which also intercept missiles. In the short term, they have enough to continue in Iran, but they don't really have enough for any sort of future conflict that could be coming up in the next few years. This is not good.
Is the United States running out of ammunition? I know it sounds weird, something straight out of a war movie. This is, after all, the world's most powerful military we're talking about. Their defense budget last year was around $900 billion. So how can they run low on weapons? But this is not a conspiracy theory. It's a question being asked by analysts, military experts, and even those inside the Pentagon. So what is really going on? Is America really running out of missiles, or is this just part of war panic? Let's look at the war first. This is not a ground war. This is a war being fought in the air with missiles and drones. You could call it a missile war. And missile wars burn through weapons incredibly fast. The fighting began on the 28th of February. Since then, the United States and its allies have been firing large numbers of precision weapons. I'm talking about cruise missiles, air defense interceptors, bunker buster bombs, all of it. The most famous one among them is the Tomahawk missile. Tomahawks are long-range cruise missiles. They're launched from ships and submarines. Each one carries a 1,000-pound warhead. It can travel hundreds of kilometers to hit targets with precision. But here's the catch. Each Tomahawk costs about $4 million. And according to military estimates, the US has fired around 168 Tomahawk missiles. That too in just the first 100 hours of this war. 168 Tomahawk missiles in the first 100 hours. That's roughly $600 million in missiles in 4 days. And that's just one weapon system. Because remember, Iran is not a passive player. It is also hitting back. It has fired missiles and drones across the region, at US bases, at Gulf states, and at shipping lanes. And to stop those attacks, America is firing defensive interceptors. These include the Patriot and the THAAD missiles, some of the most advanced air defense weapons in the world. But here's where the math gets crazy. A single Patriot interceptor costs around $4 million. And the Iranian missiles they're shooting down are much cheaper. Many of Iran's drones cost around $30,000 each. So destroying a $30,000 drone with a $4 million interceptor, that is a cost exchange ratio of over 100 to 1. In simpler words, if Iran spends $1, Washington is spending more than 100 to counter it. And that's not the only problem. You see, missiles are not manufactured overnight. For years, the US military has been using precision weapons faster than factories can replace them. Take the Tomahawk missiles again. Over the past 5 years, the US has bought just 322 of these missiles, and it has used a bulk of these in just 2 weeks. They're used up within days what they would buy over many years. And that is why many officials are worried. They fear that the US Navy will feel the impact for years to come. Then there's the THAAD interceptor. It is one of the most advanced missile defense systems in the world. You could call it the American version of the S-400. Only about 11 of these interceptors are produced every year.
Well, y'all, now you know. Now you know why Donald Trump is desperate to keep this ceasefire going. Now you know. If the Iranians were smart, they would take this time to just completely take the US out. And they could do it at this point. But no more looking at these people like they possess something that's greater than everyone else. It's the big lie. We need not even try to act like we are even listening anymore. We should be beyond listening to these folks at this point. You know, you had a chance to really show what you were about, and you failed. You failed. Yep. They said if Iran and the US went back to firing missiles back and forth, America will be out. And Donald Trump knows. They know the truth. They just don't want to tell the public the truth, which I think is wrong. I think if you can't feed your military and you don't have enough ammunition and things are just not going right, you need to pull everybody out of there. Seriously, what's the point in staying in there and you know you have nothing to fight with? Why are you still there? There's no military base to send these people to. I mean, this administration is just all about cover-ups. That's all they're about, cover-ups. If you just can't be there, then don't be there. don't be there. You know, if you can't maintain anything, then you need to get out of there. I just don't see the point. And now you see why they didn't start no ground war, because they don't have nothing to fight with. Now you see why when Donald Trump was like, oh, we may take the Strait of Hormuz. You can't take nothing with barely no ammunition. It's all talk. That's all it is. It's all talk. So, let me get over here. I need to thank James Tanner, 3637. Thank you for the super sticker. Elaine Early, 9221. Thank you for the super sticker. And Carlette, oh, good to see you. Remember, 66% of the military voted for him as a Gulf War veteran. I can see the Iran war is Vietnam 2.0, incompetence at its highest. Yes, it is. I mean, and let's face it, Donald Trump, every time he comes out in the media, his threats are actually war crimes. Oh, we're going to take out your power company. Oh, we're going to take the bridges out. See, now you are taking out things that the civilian population heavily depends on. And, you know, they took out one bridge, I think, just to try to scare those people. But they really can't do too much beyond that. They really can't. And Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump, y'all both should go to jail. Y'all should go to jail. For real. What y'all have done all this time is war crimes. That's all they have done the entire time. Striking on a nation that did absolutely nothing to you. Oh, they might have a nuclear weapon. That should not even be good enough to go to war with anyone. What a mess. What a mess. Who do I feel bad for? These young soldiers and sailors that had nothing to do with this, but they are now stuck in this situation out there. And Pete Hegseth said he's not bringing anybody home. They have to stay out there. That's what he said. So, y'all, thank you so much for your support from my channel. I deeply appreciate it. I thank you. Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for them. They sure didn't ask for this situation. Pete is too stupid to be out there with the troops. And besides, he probably would show up drunk. You don't want him to go out there. He probably would be out there drunk with the soldiers. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, nobody's going to be afraid of the U.S. They can forget about that. That's all gone. That's all gone. Who's going to be afraid of a nation with no munition? I mean, nobody. Nobody. And you just watch. Just pay attention over these next coming months. Whenever America got to deal with another nation, watch how they start talking to the U.S. They're going to be talking down to the U.S. You watch. Mm-hmm. Oh, I like the ones with Kash Patel. Did y'all see the Lego videos with Kash Patel? Because they got him as a drunk too. And those are actually funny. They got his crazy eyes down and everything. It's funny. All right, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here. And I deeply appreciate your support. And we'll come back and do this all over again. tomorrow. Shalom, family.